Welcome back to the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas, in the starting lineups for tonight's game. And, of course, for the Chicago Bulls, it's Jordan and Pippen, the big scorers, and Dickie Simpkins again starts at power forward for Dennis Rodman. And it's Robinson and Elliott, the big scorers for the Spurs, and Carl Herrera trying to fill the power forward spot that Rodman had last year. Right now, let's go to the third member of our team, Reggie Theus. Reggie?
All right, thanks a lot, Dick. The word around town here has been all about Dennis Rodman playing with him or playing without him. The Chicago Bulls are waiting for Dennis to come off of IR. On the other hand, the Spurs are glad that he's gone. They said they took away from the focus of the team and that they would be a better team without him. Ironically, last year when these two teams met, Dennis had 23 rebounds, 14 of them on the offensive boards, and the Spurs win. Dennis thinks he'll be missed.
Struggling, but they're having a great year so far, even though they haven't played anybody just like we haven't played anybody. And I think they're going to struggle all year because I don't think they have anybody that's really committed to go to the boys as hard as I did when I was here. But they got people that's committed to win, so that's what's more important.
All right, the intensity level down here is strong. Guys are walking around with their game faces on. This could be a great early season test for both teams. Back to you guys.
All right, Reggie, and of course Phil Jackson thinks so, and this is the second of a 7-game road trip for the Bulls, and Jackson said if we go 5-2, I'll be pretty happy. He won the first one last night in Dallas. And Bob Hill on the other side, his team has won 2 and 5 of their last 6, but he is not totally pleased with the emotion of the team. Bulls in red, Spurs in white, and the tip won by the Chicago Bulls.
Actually, David Robinson captures the tip, but they steal it. Interesting matchup. Let's see what happens. An interesting matchup right out of the box is Avery Johnson on Jordan. Let's see how that plays out.
They go low to Luke Longley against Robinson. Tough matchup, and Robinson with the block of bounds. Longley coming off a poor effort last night against the Dallas Mavericks, and Phil Jackson wasn't sure he put Longley on Robinson.
Well, defensively, I understand the Robinson matchup, but Longley will have a tough time getting any kind of shots against David Robinson, except when facing like that.
Misses the shot, but Pippen with the rebound, and he misses, and David Robinson gets the ball. John Fullalove and John Heatley, replacement officials working tonight's game. Avery Johnson having a terrific year in his third stint with the Spurs. Robinson driving in. David Robinson puts the Spurs in front 2-0.
And that's just so dangerous facing, and that time he really got hacked on the arm. Fortunately, he didn't get the three-point play for Chicago.
Michael Jordan missed the shot. You know he's going to try to take advantage of a big height advantage against Avery Johnson. Working now against Robinson with a baseline quick move off, and Chicago starts off 0-5 from the field. Sean Elliott, who's having a terrific year at his career high point-wise. Short on the shot. Good defense that time by Simpkins.
Early on, looks like Chicago showing the effects of the game in Dallas last evening.
Turnaround, Ron Harper. And it drops.
That's the most unlikely guy in a lot of ways to get that first basket. You'd think it would probably be Jordan and/or Pippen.
Right now, anyone that could sink one will be gladly accepted by the Bulls. So they're 1 for 6 from the field. Score tied at 2. Robinson now double teamed with Jordan. Pippen, though, gets out to Elliott in a hurry. And Sean Elliott with a move. Off the rim, no good. Longley the rebound. Here comes Pippen. He's got on the wing Simpkins and Harper with the baseline stuff. And the Bulls take the lead.
Matchup Simpkins-Robinson's going to be a tough one. Now they're committed to Jordan, it looks like, coming off of Avery Johnson, wherever he is on the floor.
Carl Herrera misses from the perimeter. Rebound by Pippen. Pippen going the length of the court, draws the foul. Scottie Pippen, second leading scorer at 19 points a game, coming off a 26-point game last night against Dallas. And the foul is on Robinson.
Notice this graphic, Bulls with Jordan. 1-7 record at San Antonio, something you really wouldn't expect.
Last year, they split the 2 games, with the Bulls winning here in San Antonio and the Spurs winning at the United Center.
Both 2-point games.
Now, these teams have played tight games, but it's pretty surprising to see the Spurs with a 7-1 record here against Jordan. Pippen makes the free throws. Two and a half minutes gone by here in the opening period. Elliott looking to Robinson on the post. Avery Johnson penetrating. Avery Johnson with the basket. And it's now 6-4 in favor of the Bulls.
Avery Johnson, one of the great stories in the league. A lot of heart, been cut 5-6 times, different clubs, including the Spurs, back here making a big effort to make this club a good basketball team.
Michael Jordan on the offensive rebound on Pippen's miss. And that is Jordan's first basket of the game. At the other end, we'll have a foul as Avery Johnson, he's put a lot of life into this San Antonio team, will go to the line.
I think Bob Hill, rightly so, wants to push the ball. And Michael is upset. He wanted the official on the baseline to make that call. Instead, the guy trailing, the official trailing, made the call. And he's unhappy about that early foul. Actually, Avery is forcing the action, and he's forcing way in there. In reality, not sure it was a foul.
You mentioned Avery Johnson, and what a great story he is. Never drafted by an NBA franchise. Currently with the Spurs for the third time in his career. Also been with 4 other teams. Free agent 6 times. And a lane violation. And the Bulls with an 8-5 lead. Early going here, the Chicago Bulls in the second game of their road trip. That'll take them, of course, to Utah on Friday. That game will be seen right here on TNT. Close enough. Robinson knocks it away. A 3-on-1 break by the Spurs. Herrera working against Pippen. Carl Herrera from the Houston Rockets. Spent his last 4 years with Houston. Has won 2 NBA titles, and the Bulls lead cut to 1.
Robinson getting his hand on another thing he does besides score, block shots, and rebound is make steals.
Simpkins coming off a screen. And Robinson gets the loose ball with 8:15 remaining in the first period. Spurs coming in 6-2 on the year. David Robinson banks it, misses. Herrera with the follow, tips it to himself.
There's the exact reason why they got Carl Herrera. He's very good around the lane, getting second shots, and they think he can take up some of the slack lost by Dennis Rodman.
Avery Johnson hemmed in by Jordan with 10 on the shot clock. Misses. Not good ball movement that time around for the Spurs. Harper quickly back, guarded by Del Negro. Elliott is on Pippen. Tough assignment for Elliott. Loose ball knocked away by Robinson. Good defensive play. And here come the Spurs, trailing 8-7. They scored the first basket of the game, but the Bulls. Vinny Del Negro working against Harper, ready to help out Simpkins. And Del Negro hits the shot, and the Spurs lead by 1.
Vinny Del Negro, so important to this Spurs club. Last year, the playoffs, they decided not to start him. He then comes back into the lineup, and he's very important scoring-wise, size-wise, that position.
Jordan misses, and Simpkins tips it in. Simpkins started only 5 games last year, and he is now starting his 6th straight game for the Bulls. Second year out of Providence. Bulls by 1. Del Negro working the baseline again against Harper. Setting a screen is Robinson. Pick and roll. They didn't go back to Robinson on a loose ball. Herrera lost it to Longley. 3-on-2 for Chicago. Simpkins driving is fouled by Del Negro, and he'll go to the line to shoot.
Misses by the Spurs and quick breaks by Chicago Bulls. Very effective.
It's a 1-point lead for Chicago, 10-9.
For Dennis Rodman, who we think is somewhere in the building.
Well, if he is, he may be in a disguise. Meanwhile, looking at the shooting, not up to snuff so far. The Bulls at a lowly 33%. San Antonio not that much better at 40%. The Bulls with an 8-1 record, undefeated 6-0 at home, and 2-1 on the road. And believe it or not, this 8-1 mark is the best record in franchise history after 9 games for the Bulls. And Bob Hill and the Spurs trying to inflict the second defeat of the year on Chicago. Here is Simpkins, who has averaged 19 minutes a game despite the fact that he is making his 6th start. And this is the first free throw.
You know, in watching both these clubs work out today, although we weren't in the Chicago Bulls workout, you sense that both of these clubs are very confident about their ability against whomever they play against in the league. And I think we'll be that way all year.
He'll be there when playoff time comes. Sean Elliott with a three after Simpkins had missed both free throws. So Elliott, who's the leading three-point shooter for the Spurs, puts San Antonio up 12-10. Jordan gets the ball back. Avery Johnson trying to stay with him. You can see the height differential, and it's pretty strong. Looking for the open man, Harper. 6 on the shot clock. Pippen against Del Negro. In the lane. Fall away by Pippen. Wild shot rebound by Sean Elliott.
And the Spurs looking really to push the basketball. They want to get Avery in the lane. Try to kick out three-point shooters, Del Negro and Elliott.
They had Simpkins on Robinson, and Avery Johnson misses a perimeter shot. Longley with the rebound. The Bulls looking to tie the game with just under 6 minutes remaining in the first period.
Defensively, they'll test Johnson all night. They'll leave him and make him hit shots to beat him.
Posting up is Jordan, looking for help. You can see Robinson is helping up on Jordan, and Jordan gets the shot off before Robinson, and Michael now with 4.
Yeah, that is a tough matchup for Avery. He could get that shot over top of him anytime he wants. If they ever went to a 1-4 at the top and back him down, he would be even more dangerous.
Robinson started his move to the baseline before the pass. Simpkins played him well there, and we're going to have a jump ball between Longley and Herrera.
Here's a perfect example. There's Avery Johnson pushing the ball, trying to get in the lane, kicks it to Elliott. Elliott, as you stated, he's a 44% shooter this year, a career 36% three-point shooter, and one of the most deadly in the league.
And there was some question as to whether Tony Kukoc could come in the game prior to this jump ball, and he can. So Simpkins goes out, and Tony Kukoc, who's a very important sixth man for the Chicago Bulls and has really turned it on the last 4 games.
Primarily because he's getting more minutes because Rodman is not playing, and there is an illegal defense. Jordan going to start on the right wing. They came to help, got caught.
That's the first, and the second will result in a technical foul.
Talking of Kukoc, he went from 21 to 27 minutes. His points went from 9 to 15, and his shooting percentage went from 41 to 57.
A lot of talent on the floor now. Jordan, Pippen, Kukoc. Jordan missed from outside. The follow-up is good. Tony Kukoc with the follow. And the foul is against Vince Del Negro, his second personal foul, and Kukoc will go to the line. Tony Kukoc averaging nearly 12 points again, the third leading scorer on the Chicago Bulls.
Not entirely happy with that role as sixth man, but adjusting to it. I think what Phil's going to have to do is find enough minutes, find the right number of minutes. And that's a problem when you got a guy like who needs to play a lot of minutes because you need his rebound.
Elliott working against Scottie Pippen. I think the sixth-man role is ideal for Kukoc. Most clubs would like to have a guy like that because you need Rodman for the rebounding. He has to be in the lineup.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But Tony Kukoc is a superb basketball player. He can do so many things. He's a lot like Jordan, a lot like Pippen. They've got 3 of the premier players in all of basketball.
Chuck Person coming into the game replacing Vinny Del Negro, who goes out with 2 personals. Jordan guarded by Sean Elliott. Jordan puts it up over Elliott, still trying to find his mark. Gets the pass back, great cut to the hoop, and the shot is missed. Longley found him, so Jordan now 2 for 8 from the field. He has 4 points, and the Bulls lead by 3. A 3-point shot missed by Elliott, who hit one earlier.
This might be one of those games where Phil decides to go to give Michael an early rest because he's struggling a little bit at 3 for 8.
Kukoc had his shot blocked by Robinson. Pippen outside, out of bounds, turns it over to San Antonio, and J.R. Reed, who started the first 5 games for the Spurs, will replace Carl Herrera at power forward.
There's the block. Robinson coming from the top. 3rd in overall in the NBA every year, one of the leaders. Shot blocking, rebounding, terrific player, and obviously scoring.
Johnson penetrating to the hoop against Longley. Stuck through. Robinson followed down the lane. And David Robinson now has 4.
Anytime Avery Johnson can penetrate into the lane, he'll create situations like that because they've got to help him.
Scottie Pippen with the jumper. Offensive rebounds hurt the Bulls last night. They went over Dallas. They gave up 32 offensive rebounds in that game. Elliott goes low to Robinson. Guarded by Kukoc now. Avery Johnson stuck in backdoor from the baseline.
Michael Jordan turned his head looking to go help, but all of a sudden a nice cut by Avery Johnson and a better pass.
Bulls lead is 17-16. Low to Harper, and a foul against Avery Johnson.
Watch Avery Johnson getting into the lane right here. Throws up kind of a wild shot, but it frees up David Robinson. Look at this cut on the baseline. He is wide open and a premier play.
And a timeout with 3:08 remaining in the first quarter.
I really don't like soft drinks with fruity names. I like roller coaster rides that make my brain sweat. I find reasons to go a different way. My family and I enjoy life to the utmost. So if you want to experience my joy, don't ride with me. Buy your own.
In this day and age, the old camcorder with its tunnel vision is, shall we say, history. Now look at the world with a sharp view cam. The big bright color view screen frees you to see all the action, and the pivoting lens gets shots the old camcorders can't. There's even instant replay with color and sound. So it's out with the old cam, in with sharp view cam. Now get up to a $200.
Dick Stockton, Chuck Daly, and Reggie Theus. Slow start for Michael Jordan. 2 for 8 from the field and 4 points. As we bring you up to date on other scores around the league. Tonight in the NBA, I want to remind you again that Friday night, not on TBS, but on TNT, not here. They'll have another program here. It'll be the Utah Jazz against these Bulls. Right now, let's go to Reggie Theus.
Well, I'm over in the huddle with the San Antonio Spurs, and they have Sean Elliott guarding Michael Jordan. They want everybody to stay at home when they have him down in the post. The big thing is he wants the Spurs to keep the pressure on the Bulls. They played it last night, and they said we're going to run them into the fourth quarter.
That's the idea, Reggie, and Chuck pointed out that looks to be the game plan for the Spurs at the outset.
One minor flaw, you're playing against some bionic people in Pippen and Jordan.
Kukoc lost the ball to Reed. And Avery Johnson, unquestionably the spark plug for the Spurs. Robinson doubled. Elliott. Quickness for the Bulls really covers a lot of their double teams. Reed misses and the rebound. Pippen snatched it away.
Well, in Pippen and Jordan, they've got 2 of the best in the league getting deep into the defense. And there's a transition basket by Tony Kukoc.
As Phil Jackson said, my team doesn't have set positions. We have wings and guards. That's what makes up our team.
It's different than probably any other system in the NBA. They don't really play with a point guard per se. They do use positions only, and they run it very, very effectively.
Robinson low post against Kukoc. Baseline, great move on a reverse against Kukoc. David Robinson with 6 points, 5 rebounds, and has swatted away 2. 2 minutes remaining, first period. Bulls by 1. Stolen by Avery Johnson. Johnson finds Elliott. On him. Johnson was free underneath for the moment. Sean Elliott now doubled with Longley. Robinson, no shot there. Avery Johnson and Reed with 3 seconds on the clock. In and out, and Jordan to Pippen. Pippen, Scottie Pippen.
Anytime you get Scottie Pippen in the open court like that, he's going to take it to the rim. Probably as good as there is in the business.
Already 6 points, 4 assists for Pippen. No better supporting player in the game than number 33 for the Bulls. Winding down to 1 minute remaining in the first period. Lead pass for Robinson on the alley-oop. Back comes Chicago. Kukoc, Harper, lost the ball, but Pippen is there on the follow. Bulls by 5 and the biggest lead of the game.
Great handle on the break.
Under a minute to play.
They're going to wear that matchup out. They're going to drop off Avery Johnson. They're going to keep going into Robinson against Kukoc.
Elliott with a reverse dribble move out of bounds. And it's still San Antonio's ball. Pippen's been active.
Here's a long lead pass. Michael Jordan alert down court all the way up. Long takeaway. Watch. Here's a guy that stays in the game. Missed by Harper, but here is Scottie Pippen right there. Easy basket.
J.R. Reed for the layup. Steve Kerr has replaced Ron Harper. And Doc Rivers is coming to the game for San Antonio with a half a minute remaining in the first period. Kukoc going to the other side. Jordan now 3 for 9 from the field. And it's a 5-point Bulls lead.
Somehow scorers, particularly guys like Jordan, you don't worry about them. 3 for 9, 3 for 10. They never would. They don't all come back, and the night it doesn't, so be it.
Got 2 seconds plus between the shot clock and the game clock, and J.R. Reed throws it away.
Yeah, trying to make a pass that a guard should make, let alone a big forward. That's a tough play. Not a bad idea.
End of the game, Judd Bushler for the Bulls. And going out, Luke Longley. So a smaller team out there for Chicago. Pippen, they spread the defense, and Scottie Pippen went down the middle.
Open up the court. 3 out, 2 in, and Pippen did what he does so well.
So Scottie Pippen.
Huddle, but we're going to see him just a moment. He looks at the clock. He says very little time. He's going to coach a little bit. Come on, let's push the ball up here. Let's get into something. That's a call. That means Scottie Pippen take it to the basket, which he does and scores.
Jackson, 7 seasons, second to Jerry Sloan amongst active head coaches. Coming out in the second period for the Spurs, David Robinson with J.R. Reed and Chuck Person and Vinny Del Negro and Doc Rivers. Scottie Pippen, who had 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists on 50% shooting, is out there with Kukoc, Jordan, Bill Wennington for the first time, and Steve Kerr. So Wennington, as Phil Jackson uses a multiple group of centers to get the job done in the paint.
Well, they got a 3-headed monster there, so to speak.
Robinson looking to Del Negro. Kerr defending, tips it out to Tony Kukoc. Jordan had 6 in the first quarter. So did Robinson. Kukoc finds Kerr. And Steve Kerr misses Robinson, gets position on Wennington, and a loose ball foul has been called against Bill Wennington of the Bulls.
Looking at their rotation, they're keeping Jordan and Pippen in the game. Normally they get one of them out here fairly soon, usually one or the other, and give one of them a rest, keep one on the floor. But tonight they're both staying on the floor, and we're already into the second quarter.
And maybe Phil Jackson wants Jordan to get underway and get a rhythm in the shooting. He's been going more to the outside shot this year. David Robinson with a high looping baseline shot. He has 8 to lead the Spurs, who trail now by 5, 27-22. Kerr working with Del Negro, staying with him. Loaded Jordan against Rivers. Turnaround by Michael. He's got it. Michael Jordan with 8 points.
He's starting to feel it now, and he can turn on either guard that plays. It was Avery Johnson earlier, then they went to Sean Elliott. Now they've got Doc Rivers, and he's the roamer defensively. He's on the weak side, but he's looking to roam and help.
Again, a 7-point lead as Reed, driving the lane, is fouled.
Here's Robinson. Kukoc, here's the double. He spins out of it, turns away from it, and that's Tony's fault. Tony's got to turn him back to the middle into the lane where he can get the help and where the help's coming from.
That's Jason Cappy, who was the 20th pick, the Bulls' first-round selection from Alabama. And Pippen goes out with a very fine effort thus far with 10 points. Foul was on Wennington, his second. Person looking low to Robinson. He's got Cappy on him. Double team. Reed breaks the double, and they had all ball. Wennington had the ball, and it's out of bounds. So it was a good block inside by Bill Wennington, but it's still San Antonio ball.
Caffey last night came in. He's getting gradually more minutes. 8 and 8 last night as a contributor.
Robinson on the inbounds pass. David Robinson hitting from outside. 29-24, Chicago leading. Cappy setting a screen for Jordan. Working against Rivers, and a pushing foul against Doc Rivers, the 13-year veteran from Marquette. His first.
This is a cute out-of-bounds play. Watch what happens. Straight line. They drop off. Robin just steps in the slot there. Fall asleep. He is wide open. That shouldn't happen.
Kukoc will inbound for the Bulls. Wennington guarded by Robinson. Now Jordan. Jordan isolated against Rivers. Pulls up. Doc did all he could. He had his hand in his face, Chuck, and Jordan hits again, so he's getting his rhythm now. He's in double figures.
Yeah, and Phil Jackson wanted a foul to boot, and it's going to be time to take him out here in a minute. J.R. Reed wide open on Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr has to foul him or give him the basket.
Robinson with a good pass inside. Interesting that Robinson is playing more on the outside, letting the cutters get in, and Reed is fouled. That is a non-shooting foul. As you look at other scores, Boston with a 16-point lead, and Cleveland leading the Knicks by 8. 31-24, the Bulls in front. They've led most of the way. Chuck Person misses a three. Kerr the rebound. And the hands of Michael Jordan, who's hit his last 3 shots. Going for 3 here, and he's got it. Jordan has hit 4 in a row. He's got 13 points, and he's rolling now. And a timeout called by the San Antonio Spurs as the Bulls open up a 10-point lead. This is a 20-second timeout called by Bob Hill.
Next home game until on Wednesday, November 29th. Spurs take on the LA Clippers. Tickets are still available.
You can sense Michael Jordan starting to feel it. Now he's gone to three-point range. Early on, he was posting up, turning around, facing, shooting the 15 to 17-footer. All of a sudden, there's a smile on his face because he's saying, hey, Doc, you can't play me.
Michael Jordan coming back now with his first full season after coming back late in the year. I think he's got something to prove. He's seen Olajuwon become a big star and everything, and I think Michael now is faced with that challenge again.
Yeah, and he likes that challenge. Here he is talking to Phil, and they're probably debating as to where he can get shots and what he can do with his club, because right now he's the primary scorer along with Tony Kukoc and Steve Kerr, if he in fact stays the three-point shooter.
Chuck Person will inbound to Reed. 10-point lead for the Chicago Bulls, their biggest. Reed from Robinson. Phil Jackson can't be happy with the in-the-paint defense by the Bulls.
No, they simply let him slide down the lane. Nobody. Wennington didn't even bother to play him.
Jordan against Rivers. Rivers knocked it away. Fine defensive play by Doc Rivers. Into the hands of Del Negro. And Jordan looking to steal it again. Great balance as he didn't knock anything down at our table. Caffey traveled and turns it over. I have never seen a player come over to a table like this and stop on a dime without knocking both of us over.
I wasn't sure you were going to say your next birthday. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you, Chuck. I'll live to see another one after that.
I was a little worried about you.
Thank you.
Oh. How about that?
We never flinched. Well, we put our hands up, but we never really flinched. We got confidence in 23, huh?
Marty over there, he can handle it.
Marty, I don't know. I think it was Marty's hands that came up first. Spurs with the ball, 8:40 to go in the first half. Avery Johnson back in the game. Robinson again playing on the outside, looking for a cutter inside. And 1 second on the shot clock. Robinson has to force it up and misses. That time, the Bulls just smothered. David Robinson didn't let any of his teammates get in the paint.
Michael Jordan came from behind. He's leaving anybody he's playing and playing like a Roman defense, almost a free safety in football.
Caffey goes out to Kukoc with 8 on the shot clock. Kukoc spin move inside, feeds to Caffey, and he's got it. Kukoc with a great pass inside. Caffey with his first points.
Tony Kukoc doing what he can do, getting into the lane. He's a terrific passer and likes to pass.
Elliott in the lane. And last touch to Jordan. So I guess if there were 6 guys on a team in basketball, it would be perfect to have Kukoc, one of those 6, right, to start and play.
Here's Kukoc. Spins in the lane, gets up in the air, simply dishes off, makes it easy for Caffey to score.
Michael Jordan is going to go out of the game for the first time tonight. Jordan has scored 13 points, 6 for 12 from the field. Randy Brown, a free agent pickup signed prior to the opening of the season, is coming along with Scottie Pippen. Here's Avery Johnson, wide open with the jumper hits. Avery Johnson now with 7 points, and it's 36-28 Chicago.
And J.R. Reed doing a nice job inside, keeping the ball alive, keeping the game alive for them. Trying to get them some second shots, replacing Rodman what he gave them a year ago.
Kukoc missed the open jumper. Now Robinson guarded by Caffey Lowe. 7-footer against 6'8" rookie Caffey. Doc Rivers shooting over Brown. Robinson keeps it alive and stuffs it through. That's what the San Antonio Spurs have in David Robinson. 10 points, 6 rebounds, and a man who will give you all you need in that center position.
Take a look at this. Shot is missed, gets his hand up, finally gains possession, and really slams it home. When he's working the lane like this, the San Antonio Spurs are going to be very, very difficult to beat.
The free throw is good, the three-point play. So Robinson, talk about overmatching his opponent, has it all over Caffey. Phil Jackson trying to buy time as much as he can by 5. Kerr off the mark with that jumper. Avery Johnson. Johnson's been in there. The Spurs has had the fast break going effectively. J.R. Reed working against Kukoc, doubled by Kerr. 6:40 to go in the first half. Go back to Reed, baseline, and a foul against Kukoc will send J.R. Reed to the line. Bulls lead the Spurs.
Early candidate for Rookie of the Year.
It'll be great to see Stackhouse, who came out of the University of North Carolina. Chuck, an interesting duel tonight between 2 of the top 3 scoring duos of the NBA in this game. Hardaway and Scott of Orlando lead, but then the other 2 we're seeing tonight.
Yeah, Pippen and Jordan at 47.9. Robinson and Elliott at 47.3. And of course, Portland with Robinson and Strickland at 46. Some amazing duels on some of these clubs.
Jordan on the bench, and the Spurs are 5-0 since Michael Jordan went out. They have on a 5-0 run. Tonight, the Jordan-Pippen combination have a 7-point advantage over Robinson and Elliott.
We talked earlier about the fact that David Robinson has not come out of the basketball game, and I think as the year goes on, that's going to take its toll. They need him on the floor against good opponents for so many minutes. We're looking here at almost 18 straight minutes, and that gets tough down the stretch.
J.R. Reed makes both free throws. Bulls lead is 3, 36-33. They were up by 10 here in the second quarter. Scottie Pippen, double team. They find the open man. James Edwards has come in the game, slapped away. Sean Elliott to Reed, and Reed is fouled by Pippen. And Pippen making sure that Reed is all right, and Scottie committing his second foul of the game.
The Spurs have gotten back into this basketball game defensively because they're starting to make some deflections, getting into the open court, getting some breaks, and Reed has done a good job for this club.
Will Perdue, who is the man sent to the Spurs for Dennis Rodman, about to come into the game for the first time. And Michael Jordan and Judd Bushler will check in for the Chicago Bulls. Hits the first free throw. Old friends, and today during the Bulls shoot-around, Will Perdue came around to see some of his old friends briefly.
Yeah, it's tough when you played for so many years, so many games, under those kind of circumstances, to leave a ball club, and you never forget the friendships, but it's part of the business. People do get traded.
J.R. Reed hits the free throw. Spurs now are on a 9-0 run since Jordan went out, but Michael's back in there now, and it's 36-35. The Bulls lead has been cut to 1. Brown, Jordan, Bushler, along with Edwards and Pippen in there now. Bushler hits a 2-point basket from the corner. Judd Bushler, and it's a 3-point lead again for the Bulls.
Phil Jackson sensing he did not like the way his club was going offensively in particular, made substitutions, and it paid off there. Bushler getting his first basket.
Avery Johnson with Doc Rivers up front as Robinson gets his first breather of the game. Reed working his way in, and Reed is fouled. J.R. Reed could be a very important player for the San Antonio Spurs. He was the spark when Rodman was benched during the playoffs with the Lakers, and started until Carl Herrera was healthy enough to get back into the lineup.
Yeah, J.R. was one of those guys who really worked on his game. I was watching him before the game. He worked on that very move, that turn fake up and under, working to get a shot or get fouled. He spent a lot of time developing those back to the basket moves.
Reed has spent a lot of time this period on the free throw line. 5 for 5. Michael Jordan committed his second personal foul, so Pippen and Jordan each with 2. And Reed now 6 for 6, and Reed has 10 points since coming off the bench late in the first period, and the Bulls lead again down to 1. Pippen, Jordan fall away from the baseline. Basket good and a foul. Michael Jordan.
Spurs are trying to buy time. Here's a quick cut across there. Rivers is dead in the water when he makes that cut on that fadeaway. You have got to beat him to the spot. If you don't beat him to the spot, you have no chance to stop him.
Already 9 points this period with 5:31 remaining. And 16 in the game for Michael Jordan.
And I think Doc Rivers complaining that he got thrown away on the play. That's why he was so late getting across.
Brown is guarding Rivers. Good defensive player. Elliott double teamed on the baseline. Nowhere to go. And it's last touched by Bushler. Sean Elliott off to a slow start tonight. Has hit only 1 of 6 from the field and has 3 points. He came in averaging 23 a game. Elliott going in. Foul. He'll shoot 2.
Well, one of the things they're staying home on Sean Elliott because they're leaving Avery Johnson to double team. In other words, they have a freelance double teamer, and they're going to stay home, which is a smart move. Anytime Elliott enters the ball, he's looking to move, to spot up, and get a 3-point shot.
Brown committing his foul. Sean Elliott with his career best right now at 22.6 points a game. Really revived in his return to the Spurs after a year with the Pistons. You can see how much he's raised his game this season.
Terrific. He's moved up dramatically this year. And they need him. They need his offense. They need his defense. They need rebounding. They're 5 down in the rebounding column. Chicago's out rebounding 20 to 15. That's significant. It's going to be apparent all year long. And he's going to have to end up rebounding as well as scoring.
Another area where Dennis Rodman gave the Spurs the boards, and that's what Chicago's looking for as well. Here's James Edwards in the lane. 40 years old today, right, Chuck?
Absolutely. 40 years old today and still to make that shot. He used to make it in Detroit. He's made it in a lot of places. Always been a premier offensive player.
Well, you relied on him so many times.
He was a great, great bench player.
Avery Johnson is fouled by Brown. Randy Brown with the personal. The Bulls over the limit.
Buda, now living in Seattle. Talked to him before the game, and happy to be still in the league. What was it, 17, 18 years in the league?
19, believe it. 19 years.
Where did the years go?
Spurs now 11 for 11 from the free throw line. Chuck Person replaces Doc Rivers in the lineup for San Antonio. Perfect night for the Spurs, who are now 12 for 12.
Who have been struggling all year. In fact, the shoot around, they're putting no pressure on the club, but it's really hurt them shooting in the 60s, which is not a good shooting percentage for a club of this caliber.
And an offensive foul called against James Edwards as Will Perdue hit the deck. Edwards thought it was a bit of an acting job by Will. A little smile on Perdue's face. What do you think?
Let's take a look. He's going to make the same move he's always made. Backs in.
Oh.
Academy Award.
Knock me over with a feather, huh? Well, a chance now for the Spurs to tie the game with less than 4.5 minutes to play in the half. Avery Johnson now doubled. J.R. Reed has nowhere to go, fires it up, and Jordan clears the rebound. Not a good offensive sequence for the Spurs there. And underneath the basket, Buechler missed the layup, taps it in. Judd Buechler taps in his own miss, and it's a 4-point game.
Heads up pass by Jordan, always looking down floor. Here's Ike in the lane, but here comes Chicago the other way.
Break. Although the Spurs getting back nicely, Brown pulls up with a bank shot, and Randy Brown, in his 5th year from New Mexico State, opens up a 6-point Chicago Bull lead.
Bulls protecting the defensive board, not giving second shots. Every time they miss, they're getting out on the break, which is causing San Antonio problems.
There's Sean Elliott double. And stepping up. You can see by looking at the Bulls, Chuck, how devastating they would be with a healthy Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, they really would be. And here comes David Robinson back in the game. You can see that neither one of these clubs can play without their superstar very long. They don't sit very long. Back in the game, quick minute or 2 minutes, back in the game.
We saw what happened when Jordan went out, how the Spurs came back, and now the Bulls opening up the 6-point lead, and so the Admiral comes back in along with Carl Herrera. So it's Person, Herrera, Johnson, Sean Elliott.
6 on the clock, fellas.
And David Robinson. Buechler goes out of the game. So Jordan, Brown, Pippen, Edwards, and Dickie Simpkins, who started the game at power forward, the 5 in there for the Bulls. Steal by Pippen. Jordan to Brown. Foul by Herrera. And Randy Brown will go to the line.
Scottie Pippen, who averages 1.3 steals a game, and you can see why. One of the best in the game at doing it. He and Jordan are so dangerous in the passing lane. And Jordan made a great pass to Brown there. I'm sure he's unhappy it wasn't converted.
Talking to Jerry Krause, the general manager of the Bulls, very high on Brown, who played with Sacramento. He's really tough, dogged defensive player, and that's why he's got a spot on the Bulls roster.
Yeah, this is one of the things they were looking for because they like pressure. They haven't quite used him as much as they thought they would. A lot of coaches in the league were upset when they got Brown because he can make them so tough defensively. But that particular play, Jordan gave him a great layup possibility. He ends up only getting 1 point out of it. They got to be unhappy about it.
Kukoc replacing Pippen in the Bulls lineup. David Robinson working inside against Simpkins, looking for the foul and showing the officials where he was hit. But it won't go David Robinson's way.
Both officials a little unsure of the call.
They said it was last touched by the Spurs.
Watch David right here. He just barrels right in. James stands there, and he kind of jams it up, throws it up, and makes a very tough call for the official. Which way do I go with this call?
Winding down to 3 minutes remaining in the first half. Kukoc looking for Edwards on a post-up. Robinson fronting him. Jordan firing over Sean Elliott. Rebound by Herrera. So Carl Herrera, who had been injured with a hamstring pull basically on both legs, now back healthy for the Spurs.
Bob Hill stating today he's not quite ready to play yet. Great give and go pass.
Avery Johnson hits the basket and a foul. Sean Elliott with the great pass to Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson, who is looking to give the Spurs a spurt here.
Here's the give and go classic. Uses his body, gets fouled from behind.
A 5-point lead and a timeout with 2:40 to go.
TBS NBA Wednesday.
What he's trying to say.
Avery Johnson misses the free throw. That's the first miss from the line by the Spurs. That's kept them in the game, trailing by 5. Getting close to the 2-minute mark, 2.5 to play. Jordan guarded by Elliott now. Off the screen, Brown. Kukoc guarded by Person. Kukoc with the move and plucked away by Robinson, and a foul by Kukoc. And that'll be 2 shots as the Bulls over the limit, and the Spurs still have 1 foul to give.
Actually, that was a pretty good foul because Robinson, I think he was off to the races. He had 2 people out there in the wing. He was going to get out. They were in a great fast break opportunity. Turned out to be a pretty good foul.
David Robinson will go to the line to shoot 2. And, you know, Chuck, talk about determination, something to prove for Michael Jordan. So does David Robinson after he was outplayed unquestionably by Hakeem Olajuwon in the Western Finals last year when the Spurs went down in 6 games, and I think he has something to prove now.
Yeah, he does, and I think one of the reasons for that, you know, he got that MVP during one of the playoff nights, and Olajuwon standing in the other end watching this and says, hey, I'm a pretty good basketball player myself.
Robinson misses both free throws. 48-43, the Bulls lead the Spurs. Simpkins, Pippen back in with Kukoc, Longley and Jordan. Longley hasn't played much in this half. Started the game at center. 2 minutes remaining in the half, and Simpkins throws up an air ball. Purdue to Johnson on the outlet pass. Alley-oop to David Robinson. Perfectly executed.
The Chicago Bulls that time had great ball movement. Kukoc made a great penetration, set up Simpkins, and he throws up, ends up on a highlight film dunk by David Robinson.
15 for Robinson. Jordan hemmed in on the baseline. Wide open for 3 is Kukoc, and Robinson clears the rebound. 48-45, less than a minute and a half to go. Bulls lead, and now it's a 1-point game, and Sean Elliott can tie it with a free throw here.
Here's Avery Johnson out on the break. He sees David Robinson. He crosses half court. Watch this lob. Perfect alley-oop. Classic.
And looking to tie the game is Sean Elliott. And he does with 1:23 to go. The game is tied at 48 after the Bulls had a 10-point lead. Foul was on Kukoc. Number 3 on Tony. So the Spurs making a comeback thanks to David Robinson coming back in the lineup. Posting up is Jordan over Avery Johnson, and he pops it in for 18 points for Michael. Bulls lead again.
They know where to go with the basketball. They know where the matchups are.
Robinson going strong to the basket and draws the foul.
You know, we talked earlier about in our meeting today about getting to the free throw line. One of the things you want to do when you play Robinson is keep him off the foul line. He's averaging 8 per game, and the same thing with Jordan, who's going to the line 6 a game. But David Robinson, 8 per game, and he's getting to his average tonight.
Phil Jackson, who told us today that I'm having the most fun of my career. Surprise, he's won 3 championships, but he said the addition of Dennis Rodman, who has lightened up the team, and Michael coming back has really made it the most enjoyable since he's been a head coach.
Yeah, sometimes when you add someone with a little spice, a little spirit and all, it kind of takes away some of the boredom when you have the same people that you've talked to for years and years, and then of course Michael coming.
Robinson with the free throws ties it at 50. Under a minute to go. Kukoc has 3 fouls still in there. And Longley from outside. Luke Longley with the perimeter shot at 7-2 gives the Bulls the lead again.
I might add to that statement, anybody would be pretty happy with
right. I would think so.
You can have a lot of fun.
Well, a lot of people thought there'd be a lot of problems. Avery Johnson misses from the perimeter. Longley to rebound. 5.5-second differential. Simpkins from the baseline. So unlikely sources of Longley and Simpkins hitting the last 2 baskets. Bulls lead by 4, playing for the last shot of the Spurs.
They go right to a double team, trying to get the ball out of Avery's hand because he was going to try to isolate on Michael. Now they go to straight up.
Avery Johnson now with 5 seconds penetrating, and Will Purdue doesn't have control. And 2.2 seconds showing on the clock, and they're going to have a clock adjustment here as the ball went out of bounds, and they're going to have to make an adjustment here. There's more than 0.2 seconds remaining in this half. It'll be Spurs ball when they decide how much time remains.
1.2, Bob. 1.2.
There's the penetration. Ball scrambled.
And 1.2 is what it's decided.
Watch Person coming off 2 screens here. Back pick for Robinson.
Here is Elliott with the shot. No good. And at the half, the Chicago Bulls lead by a score of 54-50 over the San Antonio Spurs. Those are Pippen's numbers, but Jordan has 18 to lead the Bulls And David Robinson has 17 for the Spurs. Vince Chilling first ace from our Atlanta Bulls, the same five that started for them.
One of the problems you have when you play Chicago is all you got to do is look at the two guard. Vinny DeNegro has had 2 shots, and all our other guards have had 1 or 2 shots. You just don't get very good shots when you play against him. He's such a great player defensively.
Spurs possession. Harper. Simpkins is on Del Negro. Robinson. Quick pass Johnson. Jordan checked the clock. Saw that there was 7 now on the shot clock. Losing the ball is Herrera. It was not knocked away. He just lost possession. Now Jordan, who played all but a minute and a half of the first half, and when he was out, the Spurs went on a 9-0 run. Longley misses from the baseline. Tipped out to Pippen.
Jordan had Avery Johnson isolated on the left side. Longley came into it. He got him a good shot.
Jordan posted up Avery Johnson. Here comes Avery Johnson. They want to post up Jordan if they can and avoid the double team. Longley shoving along with Herrera, who fires over Longley and misses. Pippen clears. Here come the Bulls. Pippen picked up by Herrera. Looking for Longley down low. Longley didn't play that much in the first half. And a reach-in foul called against Carl Herrera. That'll be his second.
Carl Herrera, who started the first half, they're trying to get him into some kind of game condition with Houston. He had numerous injuries. He's had injuries here all the year. Started a few games to try to get him ready. There's Longley wide open again.
That was the pick and spot up by Longley. He missed from the baseline. So both teams ice cold early here in the second half. Jordan is on Del Negro. Simpkins, second-year player against Robinson, and Vinny Del Negro, who's been ice cold, misses. Harper was releasing. Pippen, though, controlling. He's the point forward in this offense right now. Jordan setting a screen down low. Pippen slices in and draws the foul, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Offensively, Jordan's made 2 great screen and roll plays, gotten Longley wide open shots, but Pippen says, hey, we got to make something happen. Let's get to the basket.
Sean Elliott commits his first personal foul and a timeout. Same score we had at the half.
TBS NBA Wednesday is brought to you by the GMC Sierra. Strength, style, and a little something on the side.
The GMC Sierra. This year, it has even more power, and it's always been known for strength. And of course, style. But we still felt the need for a little something on the side. The convenient new third door.
Last year, here's Will.
We had a play where I step up. Scotty inbounds the ball to me. I hand it back off to him off a little screen. Chuck and David went with the ball, and it's kind of a natural reaction when you're open. You run to the front of the rim as a big guy, and Scotty was able to find me. I mean, I had no idea how much time was on the clock. I mean, my main objective was when I got the ball was just to put it through the basket. You know, I didn't know it would be the game-winning shot. I just knew that it was a shot that I needed to make. Well, I mean, I have to admit that's the first time that's happened to me. You know, I played with the Bulls for 7 years, and that's in the 7 years I played, I've had 1 game-winning shot, and that was it.
And San Antonio won in Chicago in overtime. 2 close games.
Scottie Pippen, we've talked about Robinson and Jordan all night, but very quietly heading for a triple-double, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, and no turnovers.
Missed free throws by Scotty, and it's still 54-50 in favor of the Bulls. Elliott misses the drive, and Herrera with the follow-up.
They could really use Herrera if he gets back to his game where he hangs around for missed shots like he did there.
54-52, the Bulls in front. Simpkins posting up against Herrera. Feed inside. Pippen tries the reverse layup, and he's fouled. He missed 2 free throws moments ago and will go to the line to shoot 2 more. Second on Robinson.
Watch this great give and go. Watch this spectacular play that Scottie Pippen makes to get the ball up to the rim.
And Pippen hits the shot. He had 10 points in the first quarter. And this is his first point since the first period. But a good all-around game with 7 rebounds and 8 assists as well. He's leading the Bulls in everything but in scoring, apparently. Steals and minutes. Jordan has the lead in that department. 4-point lead for the Bulls again. Avery Johnson out to the top to Del Negro, looking for the cutter. Sean Elliott missed him. Johnson driving, leaves it off to Herrera in the lane. Too hard off the glass. Simpkins comes down with it. Here's Scottie Pippen. Picked up by Elliott. Elliott's done a good job on Pippen since the first quarter. Turnaround by Jordan. The basket good and a foul. Michael Jordan now with 20 points.
Yeah, just prior to that, we'd had only 2 points in this entire half by both clubs. But they're going to, if they get the ball to Jordan against Avery, it is a very tough matchup. There's a perfect example. He faded away, got fouled. He can clear so much space with his athletic ability and getting away. And when that shot's going in, when he's extending and following, he's so dangerous.
21 now for Michael Jordan. He completes the 3-point play. Avery Johnson committed his second foul. So the Bulls are up by 7 again. They have kept the Spurs at bay in this game. San Antonio tied it at 50 right before halftime. Johnson with a wild left-handed hook that goes in. Avery Johnson now with 13 points. 5-11 with a hook shot, and the Bulls come back on the other end. And a basket by Simpkins, and he's fouled.
Avery Johnson on a floating hook shot follows through. You've got to stay with that shot and turn your body in.
And David Robinson has committed his 3rd personal foul. And Simpkins looking to complete another 3-point play by the Bulls, but it's way off the mark.
Simpkins on that just simply beat Robinson down floor, and he had the foul to stop the layup.
Bulls lead it 61-54. Double team on Robinson. Avery Johnson not shooting with Jordan, giving him some room. Now Robinson picked up by Simpkins. Johnson inside the 3-point line, hits the basket. Avery Johnson now with 15.
They'll get back in the game. They keep letting him take that shot. They're going to give him that shot.
And he continues to play Jordan. He hasn't done that bad a job against Michael tonight. And on the feedback and an offensive foul. And Michael Jordan now has picked up his 3rd personal foul. Lost control a bit on that pass back, on that drive to the hoop as Phil Jackson is off the bench.
Makes a pass to Luke Lonnie. Michael goes baseline. David steps over and collides with Michael, gets the charge.
Harper guarding Del Negro. Robinson with a jumper. They did not double team him there, and David Robinson comes back with 19. It's a Jordan-Robinson matchup, and that's the way it's been when both teams have needed the big basket. Harper with a turnaround. Ron Harper with his 3rd basket. Avery Johnson in the crowd. Del Negro, top of the key hits. Now they're hitting.
Avery Johnson getting in the lane, creating some things for his teammates. That time he got Vinny Del Negro involved.
Chuck, this is the best sequence both teams have had hitting from the outside in the game. And another San Antonio foul as the Spurs are over the limit. Houston defeated Philadelphia. The Rockets are now 9-1 on the GMC. Miami leading Golden State. They're 5-1 at home, and the Celtics over Charlotte. The Knicks coming from behind leading Cleveland, and Washington in front of Detroit. Minnesota 60, Seattle 55. Timberwolves have won just 1 game, and the rest of the scores. Simpkins hitting the first free throw.
Chicago Bulls maintaining the same lead they had at halftime, 4-point lead.
And And the free throw is good. Notice the Spurs are 15 for 18 after woeful free throw shooting coming into this game, but they've not been able to get to the line so far in this third period. Johnson drives in around Jordan. Jordan on a foul.
An isolation and a great one-on-one move getting to the baseline. Bob Hill and the staff say, hey, we might want to look at that again. Anybody can beat Jordan like that. Jordan, though, his competitors come right back, says, I'll go over the top.
He loves the competition. Jordan gives the Bulls a 5-point lead again. Michael now with 23. And Robinson comes back. And the foul is called against Robinson, and that'll be his fourth. 4 on the Admiral.
Crucial foul. Bob Hill's going to make a substitution right here. Will Purdue's going to come in the game. He has no choice. There is the move by Avery Johnson around Jordan. You won't see that too often. As long as you watch Michael play defense, you just won't see it.
Robinson goes out with 4. He has 19 points. And Will Purdue has come in, the former Chicago Bull. 5-point lead for the Bulls. A little more than halfway remaining in this third period. Longley, and reaching in was Will Purdue. And he commits his first, and Longley will go to the line to shoot a pair.
And there's a technical. They're kind of fortunate there because Luke Longley did not have good post-up position. Scotty tried to enter the ball, and he was fading away. Purdue reached over the top. Take a look at it. Established position. Now he gets loose. And actually Purdue got around topside, got his hand on it. End up with a technical foul.
Jordan makes the technical. He's got 24. And now Longley will shoot the pair. Luke Longley has given the Bulls 30 minutes. He stayed out of foul trouble. He's not playing that much in this particular game.
We've got over 18 minutes to go in this game, and now we've got David Robertson sitting with 4. As soon as he comes back in, if he picks his 5th, you got to take him out again. We're going to find out a lot about the San Antonio Spurs, their entire roster, whether they can compete at this level without David Robertson.
And not only that, but they trail by 8 points. San Antonio yet to go to the line in this period.
Another compensation for the Chicago Bulls is they're going to be able to stay home play pretty much straight up defensively.
Elliott working against Pippen, drives around and beats him off the dribble. Sean Elliott, who's been quiet those far tonight, now has 10 points in the game, but the Bulls with the ability to get down the court in a flash. Pippen feeding Harper with the basket. And a timeout called by the Spurs, 72-64. Pippen has.
Longley takes it quickly, throws into Jordan. Jordan hits Pippen, the guy who got beat, and he's going to take it all the way to the basket. Dishes off to Harper for the easy field goal. In reality, they've gotten 3 of those this evening. Fast break points, Chicago 23, San Antonio 13. That's lack of offensive rebounding.
And the Spurs, who have committed 8 fouls in this third quarter to 1 for Chicago, and that was an offensive foul by Michael Jordan. J.R. Reed misses the jumper, winds up on the floor. Here's a 3-on-2 break with Pippen and the man in the middle. And a fine defensive play by Sean Elliott as he got a piece of the ball and knocked it out of bounds.
Big defensive play. They had semi-numbers. They didn't have a straight 3-on-2, had about 3-on-2.5, but Elliott made a great defensive play.
And nearly a steal by Johnson, and Jordan goes to the hoop and beats him there. Tell you, if you're going to make the steal, you better make it, because Jordan will beat you bad. 26 for Michael, and it's a 10-point game again for Chicago. Here's Avery Johnson.
Watch Jordan space him now when Avery gets the ball. He'll space him. He'll give him room.
And an offensive foul called against the Spurs, and that is against J.R. Reed. Number 1 on Reed. Bulls have outscored the Spurs 7-2 since Robinson went out with his 4th foul.
In reality, they have no place to go offensively. They've got to start running some definite plays rather than post-up plays.
Jordan outside, rebound. Simpkins keeps it alive for Chicago.
That's what those power forwards got to do for Chicago. If they'll wait in and get second shots, make all the difference. Here's that post up on Avery.
Jordan shooting over Avery Johnson, misses, deflected, and Simpkins will get it again. The Bulls dominating the offensive glass here with under 5 minutes to go in the third. Simpkins moves out with a screen and hits the jumper, and that's like a dagger in the heart for the Spurs.
And that's justice because he ends up getting 2 of the 3 offensive rebounds and finally ends up with the shot.
And the biggest lead of the game right now, 76-64 in favor of the Bulls. And Sean Elliott goes baseline, gets the basket, and draws the foul. And the Spurs will finally go to the free throw line with 4:27 remaining in the third.
Bob Hill and his staff are searching for ways to score now, and that's one of the better ways. Get the ball in one of your terrific offensive players. Sean Elliott on the box. That time he not only scored it, but got fouled.
Sean Elliott on the line. Foul was on Pippen, his third foul. So Jordan and Pippen each with 3. And Elliott hits the free throw. Well, we got a real barn burner going on between Vancouver and Orlando. Right now, let's send you back to Atlanta and Vince Cellini. Vince?
Thank you, Dick. Yes, we do. It could be a very...
Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Dick Stockton, Chuck Daly, and Reggie Theus. An exciting finish with Orlando winning. And the Bulls lead 85-74. David Robinson left the game with 4 fouls with 6:46 remaining in the third quarter. And the Bulls have outscored them 18-12 since then. Robinson is back in there now, playing with his 4 fouls. Michael Jordan scored 12 points in the third period, has 30 in the game, and a collision with Reed and Wennington and a foul call.
You know, in reality, in this quarter, San Antonio Spurs have started to pressure down court, and they've created some action. They're only down 11, and in that case, here's a double foul. They clear the rebound. Reed makes, I don't think, a smart play here. Why push off once you have the ball? But they end up with the ball anyway, and they're in a position. Here they go to the post-up, trying to get Elliott.
Bob Hill in that third quarter while we're gone picked up a technical, the second one for the Spurs. Will Perdue had picked up the first. Here is Sean Elliott missing a 3 outside, and the rebound taken down by Jason Caffey. Here's Scottie Pippen, who's had a fine all-round game for the Bulls. Kukoc is in there with Brown, Pippen, Wennington, and Caffey.
Scottie Pippen playing the entire half, and we're going to, there's the shot block.
Wennington blocked by Robinson, and a loose ball foul has been called against Robinson. That was Robinson's 4th block and a loose ball foul.
We will not see Michael Jordan sit too much longer. He will be in to replace Pippen, give Pippen a rest.
So the Spurs come back. Avery Johnson. The foul was on Wennington. His 4th foul. Avery Johnson guarded by Brown. Good defender. Slide. Kukoc helping off. 5 seconds to go on the shot clock. Person misses from 3-point territory. Reed battling with the loose ball. New clock. Winding down to 9 minutes to go in the fourth.
Avery very smartly sets up.
Here's Robinson working against Caffey, the rookie. Throws the ball away. David Robinson wanted to go to Reed. They missed connections, and the Bulls will get the ball back. San Antonio has outscored Chicago 3-0 in this quarter. Not much scoring.
Stretch it at 41-32, but that's without David Robinson in there for a good portion of the third quarter. That will be narrowed if Robinson stays in the game.
Right now, let's go to Reggie Theus.
All right, Coach Bob Hill was talking about in the huddle that they've turned this into a 9-minute ball game. Not a bad deal, but let's go into David every time down court, and I want to put the press on for the rest of the game. Back to you, Dick.
All right, Reggie, that was the first points by Chicago. Kukoc with the jumper in this quarter. And we have 8:27 to go. Just as you said, David Hill said go to the Admiral, and Robinson got in there, but he could not connect.
Anytime he catches, he'll turn. He could beat his man to the basket, beat Longley, or anybody's playing him, and he will try to get fouled or score.
13-point lead for the Bulls, and a foul away from the ball. A technical foul, a third one. on the bench. So we've had 3 technicals against the Spurs. 1 on the Spurs bench, 1 on Will Perdue, and 1 on Coach Bob Hill. Who's left?
These are the times you got to get past mad, because you're in this basketball game. You're not out of it. You keep giving them possessions and opportunities to the foul line. The officiating isn't going to change. The same 2 guys are going to be there even after you have your technical.
Michael Jordan hit the tee. He's got 31 points now. Steve Kerr, Kukoc over Person. Wild shot by Kukoc, and Longley gets the loose ball and puts it through, and it's 90-74.
And he's smiling because look what I found. He didn't expect that.
And with under 8 minutes to go, Spurs have fallen down by 16 points. That is the biggest lead for Chicago. And a foul at the other end. Jason Caffey committing the foul, and David Robinson will shoot.
Jason Caffey trying to control him. He reached around, got his hand on the ball, called for foul. But David's going to try to get to the basket every time, shorten the game, or lengthen the game, I should say, because by stopping the clock, and if he can score. But in this case, he misses the free throw.
Got to be a big disappointment for Bob Hill, because the Spurs playing at home against the Chicago team who played last night against the Dallas Mavericks and had to go into overtime to win. They expected a lot more inspired effort, but he said the emotion has been missing from the team all year.
Yeah, and they had 4 days off.
Caffey driving the hoop block. That's number 5 for David Robinson. But they had enough time off, and the Bulls played last night. Normally, you'd see the Spurs with the bigger spark.
Yeah, the Spurs are trying to find themselves a little bit. You know, the Rodman loss is going to be a little more severe, I think, than they think.
Jordan coming off the screen by Longley, hits the shot, and it hits the deck as well. Sean Elliott committing the foul. Michael Jordan now with 33 points, and again goes to the stripe. Jordan coming in averaging 28.6.
Gets the screen, goes right, and goes up. Didn't feel Sean Elliott says, hey, I didn't foul him.
34 for Michael Jordan, who had 36 last night against the Mavericks. Avery Johnson penetrating against Steve Kerr. Good defensive job by Kerr, and Jordan quickly gets it out to Kerr. Kerr finds Kukoc.
Now Chicago probably try to get into their offense, use some clock. They'll run it, try to get a good shot out. Michael feeling it, gets a quick one.
Always a good shot when Michael's putting it up, I guess, Chuck. Missed the shot, and on the loose ball, J.R. Reed has it. 18-point lead, and that's the biggest lead of the game for the Bulls. Person throws up an air ball, and the Bulls have it. They're in control of this game with under 7 minutes remaining, 6:48.
Phil wasn't real happy with that quick shot, because and now Michael realizes the situation. He said, let's run our offense. They'll move, stay with it, try to get a good opportunity with the clock running down.
Kukoc to Longley in the lane. J.R. Reed. They got to get in the hands of a ball handler soon. Under 6.5 to play. Surprising that Robinson isn't doing more against the rookie Jason Caffey. Inside. Of course, you got Longley as well. Avery Johnson hits the jumper.
They decided to go to the pick and roll with Elliott, trying to get Elliott a shot. In that case, they backed off for Avery Johnson. He nails the jumper.
16-point game, double team on Kerr, and a kick ball. And the Bulls will have a new clock.
Phil Jackson comes almost to half court and said, hey, let's get in that 2-1-2 set. Make sure we're in the right place against that 1-2-2 trap so we can move the ball.
Doc Rivers into the game. Caffey out to Jordan. Jordan working on Sean Elliott. Gives up the dribble into Longley. Robinson guarding him, and Longley makes a fine play against David Robinson. Remember, Robinson is playing with 4 fouls. And Avery Johnson is fouled. Kerr and Jordan around him. And Kerr committing, no, that's a Jordan with his 4th.
Longley making a superb play, going to his left hand on Robinson. And down the other end, Steve Kerr's done a good job with Avery Johnson, spacing him, backing up. That time, Michael thought he had him in a double team, came over and actually fouled.
And on the inbounds pass, there's another foul away from the ball. And the Bulls committing their 5th team foul. And they are in the penalty, and David Robinson will go to the line. Houston beating Philadelphia. Orlando, you saw that thriller in the bonus coverage on Hardaway's basket, beating Vancouver. And the New York Knicks beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 94-84. The Knicks now 6-1 on the road.
Nelly's doing a great job with that club. They've changed their style a little bit, trying to score a few more points, making Mason a point forward, and playing great basketball.
And that allows Derek Harper, who doesn't have to handle the ball, to get free for some shots. It's a 95-79 game. The Bulls lead on the pressure, the turnover. Sean Elliott gets the basket and draws the foul. And Phil Jackson telling his team, you better help out against this kind of pressure. They didn't in that instance.
Michael had the ball. He went against the double team, tried to dribble through it, and got stripped.
5 fouls against Jordan.
Here he actually goes off his knee. Elliott gets in the lane, fumbles a little bit, finally pump fakes, and Jordan commits the foul.
Little ticky-tack, but Jordan has 5, and Sean Elliott completes the three-point play, and that will bring the Spurs to within 13. They were down by as many as 18. Here's that break. Longley has it blocked by Robinson, but into the hands of Kukoc. That's 6 for David.
They're really flirting with it against this trap. They almost got the ball picked off at midcourt. They don't have many ball. They've got to get a ball handler in the middle of that trap.
And an offensive foul has been called against Longley. And he wants Scottie Pippen.
Absolutely. You're not going to fool around with this game, because against the press, what it forces you to do, it forces out the rhythm of your offense, gets other people involved in handling the ball and shooting the basketball that normally don't shoot it.
Kerr goes out of the game and Scottie Pippen back in. So the San Antonio Spurs making a final last stand, trailing 95-82. And Sean Elliott lost the ball under the basket. So the Bulls get it back with under 5 minutes remaining. Kukoc posting up against Johnson is Jordan, and Michael Jordan now with 36. And the Bulls are up by 15 once again. Robinson against Caffey. Longley double teams. Good passing, and Sean Elliott misses from the perimeter. Reed keeps it alive to Doc Rivers. Avery Johnson missed the shot. Rivers fights inside, and he draws the foul. But the Spurs are missing too many opportunities on the offensive end.
Yeah, wide open shots. Their shooting has been a little bit of a problem this year. They've got some problems they've got to solve. They've got to find out who they are. They've been sailing along, winning some games, but not rebounding well, not shooting free throws, although tonight they've come around that department for missing a lot of wide open shots.
Here's a team that had the best record in the league last year at 62-20, and then were beaten by the eventual champions, the Houston Rockets, in the Western Finals in 6 games.
You know, but if you want adversity, this is the time of the year to have it. This is a time to find out who you are and where you have to go with your club. If you keep sailing along, winning games, you don't really find out about your club. They'll go back to a little soul searching, back to the drawing board, both personnel-wise and offensive after this game.
1 out of 2 for Rivers. Longley committed that second foul. 14-point lead for the Bulls. They're not out of the woods yet. Kukoc working against Avery Johnson. Now the double team. Here's Pippen. And shooting is Caffey from the corner. Robinson gets the rebound. That's the last guy you wanted to shoot on that instance was the rookie Caffey. Sean Elliott misses a 3. Reed had it, knocked away, and the Bulls gain possession.
They'll utilize the clock. 14-point lead with 3:47. Here's the trap by the Spurs.
Back to Pippen, who, by the way, has his triple-double. He needed 1 rebound and picked that one up. 5 on the shot clock. Jordan tipped up by Kukoc, coming from the weak side. Tony Kukoc, and it is now a 16-point lead for the Bulls. Isolating Johnson against Pippen. Now Robinson. Almost triple team Robinson. Rivers for three. Doc Rivers hits a three-point basket. 99-86, the Bulls. Winding down to 3 minutes remaining. Robinson slaps it away into the hands of Rivers. Here's Robinson. He lays it in. Foul. Basket counts.
I'll bet you Phil Jackson, the next practice that they have probably won't be tomorrow because they played back-to-back. They're going to work against the trap because they are not handling it well.
Very surprising that the Chicago Bulls, with their fine ball handlers, Chuck, have not been able to handle the trap.
The problem is they have the wrong people in the middle of the trap. Here's Robinson taking the ball to the hole. Tony Kukoc fouls him on the possession. Timeout.
And the foul was on Caffey and a timeout, and the Spurs alive in this one with 3:02 remaining.
Yo, you think you got a game? Mine's a
first road game of the year. David Robinson going to the line. The Bulls had their biggest lead, 18 points, with 6 minutes remaining in this fourth period, and since then the Spurs are on an 11-4 spurt. Now 12-4. David Robinson has 26 points.
San Antonio has stepped it up defensively, gone to pressure down court, playing straight up right here. Kukoc is taking a look at it. They've got that mismatch. Avery Johnson on Michael Jordan.
Out to Kukoc. Again going low now. Double team with Greg Anderson. Doubling all over the floor. Pippen to Kukoc. One on the shot clock, and Kukoc misses. Elliott the rebound. And now the Spurs can cut it to less than 10. Johnson leaves it for Rivers, the three. And the Spurs might have put that up a little too soon for Bob Hill's liking.
They feel they had to take that shot, though, with the clock where it is in the 2-minute area. They probably have to take that shot. And Rivers can make that shot. He squared up, had a good situation.
Now 6 on the shot clock. The Bulls using it as we get close to 2 minutes. Jordan turnaround. He's got it. 38 points for Michael Jordan as he's gone to town against the smaller Avery Johnson all night. Loop it into Elliott from Johnson. And it's last touched by Chicago. 1:56 on the clock. The Bulls are in the penalty, and the Spurs have 3 fouls to give. But the Spurs trail by 12. Elliott with a 3, and it's a 9-point game. Sean Elliott with 23 points.
1:54, and what has transpired here is that Chicago is kind of milking the clock, eventually going away from Jordan and coming back to him late in the clock.
Pippen has Caffey. They're playing down in the crunch minutes of this game. That says something about the 20th pick from Alabama. Jordan, double team, wins his way in. Here's Pippen with a fake and a runner. Pippen missed. Tipped by Caffey is missed, and Caffey fouls Rivers. And the Spurs will go to the line, and this one is far from over with 1:28 showing. The Bulls have seen the air come out of their balloon, Chuck.
Bob Hill hoping. Here's the rebound. Jason Caffey did a good job, but watch here. He grabs Doc Rivers and puts him on the free throw line. Knew he made a mistake. Better to let the ball go out of bounds, make him bring it up court, use some time. Rather than that, they put Rivers on the line. Can cut it to 7 or 8, whatever he happens to do here.
Rivers 2 for 3 from the line tonight. 4 for 4 on the season from the free throw line coming in. Doc Rivers, in his 13th year, picked up after he was waived by the Knicks last December. Spent his first 8 years with the Atlanta Hawks. Makes 1 out of 2. Spurs, who are hot from the line early, have gone cold in the second half. Trail 101-93.
Interesting to note they have Tony Kukoc handling the ball against this trap in the backcourt. Now they're going to move the ball.
Kukoc driving the lane, feeds inside to Longley. Well executed. Again, they spread it out, and they got the layup inside, and it's a 10-point game again. Elliott going strong to the hoop. Anderson tries to tip it, and now Robinson fires from outside. Short. Rivers. And Rivers will go to the line. He's fouled again.
Gotta love Doc Rivers' heart and his competitiveness. He's really fighting, getting in the lane, trying to get second shot, which really isn't his game, but he wants to try to do something to help his club win.
Doc Rivers coming back from knee surgery. A lot of people thought that he had seen his career go by the boards in this league.
Yeah, and even this year, they weren't sure whether he would be back or what he would do. A terrific young man.
Rivers can cut the lead to 9. He misses the front end, so the Spurs missing again from the line. Want to remind you on TNT Friday night at 8 o'clock, the Bulls and the Jazz. Bob Neal, Hubie Brown, and Kevin Kiley will call the action. That's Friday on TNT from Salt Lake City. 1 out of 2 for Rivers. Spurs have missed 10 free throws after going 12 for 12 early on. So their free throw woes continue. 41 seconds remain, 103 to 94. And San Antonio having the foul.
Avery Johnson coming from behind on the double team.
They had 3 fouls to give. Again, Jordan with 38 and 9 boards. David Robinson with 26 and 15 rebounds tonight.
And David Robinson setting out a good portion, about 7 or 8 minutes of the third quarter.
That was the first foul in the last 2 minutes for the Spurs. Next time they'll be in the penalty. 17 on the shot clock and 31 now in the fourth quarter. Caffey gets it inside and loses the ball. Wanted a foul, none coming. 9-point lead. Sean Elliott feeding David Robinson, and he's fouled with 15 and 5 remaining. 15.5 remaining, but time running out on the San Antonio Spurs.
Jason Caffey had a great opportunity inside, got up in the air, didn't know quite what to do with it.
So Bob Hill likely will see the Spurs lose after winning 5 of their last 6. Robinson missing the free throw. The Spurs have gone ice cold from the line in the second half, and it's killed off any chances they had to make a game of it.
This is the problem they've had earlier in the year, and it resurfaced here in this fourth quarter.
Final seconds, and the Chicago Bulls will make it 2-0 on this road trip as they have defeated the San Antonio Spurs by a score of 103 to 94. As the Bulls now extend their record to 9-1 on the season, and the Spurs suffer their 3rd loss in 9 games. No Rodman, no rebounds, no rings. And that's true. Right now, let's go to Reggie Theus.
All right, we're over here talking to Scottie Pippen. Scottie, great game, another triple-double. You know, you've been leading this team in almost every category. The team's playing great, and you're on pace to MVP award here.
Well, tonight was a great game on our effort tonight. I thought after playing a tough game last night in Dallas, we really came out, we controlled the tempo. Knowing that this team was going to try to run us out of the game, we came out, we controlled the tempo, and we made the right decisions.
But last year when Michael Jordan came back to this team, it seemed like everybody had a hard time adjusting. Right now, this team seems to be in a great rhythm along with Michael.
I think we are in a great rhythm. I think guys have gotten used to playing with Michael, and he's giving them the ball. He's got a lot more confidence in them, and we're playing well as a team.
All right, the second win on a 7-game road trip. You know, you're doing great. How good could this team be when Dennis comes back?
Well, I think we can be much better. We're going to take this road trip 1 game at a time. We got to go into Utah and eat a little turkey, but we'll be ready for them Friday night.
All right, they're going to be ready tonight. Over back to you, Dick, over with Michael.
Hey, what else is new? You know, 38 points. That's the last time I left you, Michael.
Well, it's good to have you back. I played good when you were around.
Well, on his birthday.
That's right.
Happy
birthday.
Right.
Well, thank you, Hey, Michael. The game of this important after the overtime win. Coming to San Antonio against one of the powers in the league, what does the win mean to you tonight?
Well, it means a lot. I mean, we were a scrappy team. We figured we were going to be short-manded, and we put in a lot of energy last night. A lot of the guys played extra minutes, and we were hoping that the bench could come out and give us a little bit tonight, and we found ourselves struggling. We got a good lead in the third quarter, and we were able to sustain it down the stretch. I think a lot of the guys were getting tired a little bit, but we were able to hold off a very good team. I think they kind of took us for granted, and we were able to get on them real quick.
I sense your next practice, which won't be tomorrow, will probably be against the trap, right?
You got to believe that. I think we didn't handle the trap very well.
Well, you got to get a ball handler in the middle there.
Yeah, Tony was kind of a little hesitant to step in there. They were coming off of Jason Caffey quite a bit, and he was a young kid out there. He didn't know exactly what to do, and I was very surprised that a lot of times I was able to get little Avery Johnson in the post without a double team. That was very surprising.
Well, when you took the ball away and came back to the weak side, you were able to do it. When you went directly in, they would come on the double team.
Yeah, we were trying to catch David in transition. He was a double team man, and once they threw it back into me, I tried to get it out while he had to go back to his man. Once I got the ball, I had a lot of room.
Michael, tell us about coming back this year and what it means, the pride you have. I know that you've seen Akeem Olajuwon do as well. I know that you were saying, hey, I'm not the best player in this league anymore, but I know you want to compete for that honor now.
Yeah, I think it really was a pride thing. It was a very honorable gesture when people would give me that credit. And I think right now I can't really say that I deserve that credit. And I think Olajuwon deserves it. I think it was Pippen deserves some consideration. Me, it's a great to look forward to the challenge to try to get my game back consistently. And even if I never make it back to the top, I got a challenge now.
You're always at the top.
You know what? You're back where you were. I said at the opening show, he's back. You're exactly where you were before.
You're always at the top. Michael,
take a look at this schedule.
Take a look at the rest of this road schedule. I know that Phil said 5-2 would be a good record on this road trip, but now you're 2-0. What are the tough games? I know Utah Friday's a good one.
Well, Utah is going to be a big test for us. I think they're 9-2, and Seattle plays well at home. I mean, we got a tough battle. I mean, Vancouver, you really can't take them for granted, but the Clippers played as well in preseason. We got to play good basketball. Right now, we got 2 wins, and that means a lot.
Michael, great to see you again. Really is.
Good seeing you, Don.
Yeah. So the Chicago Bulls win it.
I'm glad you're over here.
He knows what he's talking about. The Bulls win it. Good to have Michael with us again. Triple-double for Scottie Pippen. And that's the story here. And when we come back after the Bulls over the Spurs 103-94, we'll send you to our